I'm now pleased to give the floor to Nicodemos Damianou, Deputy Minister of Research, Innovation and Digital Policy of Cyprus, which currently holds the presidency of the Council of the European Union. Mr. Damianou, please.
Good morning. Commissioner Kobilius, Director General Asbacher, distinguished fellow ministers, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, good morning again. It's a privilege to address you at the 18th European Space Conference. The size and participation of this conference, I think, speaks to the importance. We gather here at a moment that demands both reflection and decisive action, at a moment when the major themes are indeed what's in the title of this year's conference: sovereignty, security, resilience, and autonomy for Europe, which can only be reflected through appropriate industrial action. 57 years ago, humanity watched as the first footprint was pressed onto the surface of the moon. In that moment, space symbolized exploration, ambition, and scientific curiosity. Half a century later, space has moved far closer to Earth and far deeper into our daily lives, a critical part, a backbone of our digital future. Today, space is no longer merely about where humanity can go. It is about how our societies and our economies function. Navigation, disaster response, financial systems, digital connectivity, defense, it was stressed by the Commissioner, all rely on resilient space assets. Space is a strategic necessity, directly exposed to the geopolitical tensions and economic competition we face here on planet Earth. We are witnessing a structural shift, a space revolution that places space at the next or as the next technology frontier. The global space economy has more than doubled in 2 decades, exceeding €500 billion, and is projected to surpass 1 trillion within the next decade. Orbits are becoming increasingly congested and market dynamics are shifting rapidly. For Europe, we are in front of a defining challenge. As highlighted in the Draghi and Letta reports, our vision must be to move decisively towards a true single market for space, a market that bridges the gap between infrastructure investment and commercial service delivery, strengthening Europe's technological sovereignty. For the next 6 months, the motto of the Cyprus presidency, an autonomous union open to the world, will guide our work in the Council. In the space domain, this translates into a clear mandate: consolidating our legislative framework, securing the financial future of our programs, and reinforcing the strategies between space, security, and defense, all within a truly enabled single market, while leveraging space as a platform for Europe's competitiveness. Our immediate priority is the legislative work inherited from our Danish colleagues. It was mentioned by the Commissioner, the EU Space Act. We are fortunate to start from a strong position. I pay tribute to the Danish presidency for their intensive technical work in that respect. The compromise text they have put forward provides a solid, constructive foundation. However, we acknowledge that this proposal is a pioneering step, the first attempt to create a unified regulatory pillar for the single market in space, and naturally comes with inherent challenges. The message for Member States and the industry is clear and is fully aligned with what the Commissioner said. Europe needs rules that enable rather than inhibit. The Cyprus presidency is committed to steering these negotiations with pragmatism and proportionality. Our objective is to deliver a framework that harmonizes the internal market without imposing administrative burdens that stifle our SMEs, our startups, and our scale-ups. We want a Space Act that provides legal certainty for operators, facilitates cross-border activities, and makes Europe an attractive destination for space businesses. In parallel, we'll take note of the Commission's ambition within the proposal for the Digital Networks Act announced a few days ago to establish a single EU-level satellite spectrum authorization. We recognize the potential of this initiative to facilitate pan-European operations and scale satellite services across the single market. Regulation is only one half of the equation. Of course, the other is investment. As we negotiate the European Competitiveness Fund and the broader multi-annual financial framework, we must be unequivocal. A strong European space economy requires predictable financing. We must close the investment gap. We cannot lead the global technology race if our instruments are fragmented. Under the ECF space window, we will work to secure the continuity of our flagship programs, Galileo, EGNOS, Copernicus, and COVSATCOM, while advancing strategic initiatives such as IRIS2 and the EuroQCI, the European Quantum Communication Infrastructure, just to name two examples. We need a financial toolbox that supports the entire value chain, from high-risk research to commercial scaling and procurement. Furthermore, the governance of these funds must remain agile. The interplay between the Commission, EUSPA, and ESA must be seamless, avoiding duplication and maximizing the return on every euro invested by the European taxpayer. This brings me to the third pillar of our presidency agenda, resilience and security. The distinction between civil and defense capabilities in space is blurring. Our assets in orbit are strategic infrastructures that require robust protection. We welcome the Commission's focus on the European Space Shield and the strengthening of space domain awareness. Cyprus, given its geostrategic location, understands deeply the value of resilient surveillance. Therefore, we will prioritize discussions on the Earth Observation Governmental Service to ensure that Europe possesses autonomous, reliable data for its security and its defense needs. We must treat space not just as a technological advancement, but also an industry and a sovereign capability that underpins our strategic autonomy. Cyprus approaches its presidency as a country that is investing in a still young but growing ecosystem within the space domain. Over the past few years, we have built the institutional, legal, and technological foundations of a growing national space ecosystem. Situated at the intersection of four regions, Cyprus maintains an elevated geopolitical role and strong neighboring relations within an otherwise turbulent region. This unique standing renders our country a trusted, stable, and secure gateway for global space operations, and we will leverage that to act as a bridge between the EU and its neighbors, deepening relations during these next 6 months. With 300 days of sunshine per year, maybe more, definitely different to what you are seeing outside, Cyprus offers ideal conditions for hosting satellite ground stations, control centers, and data gateways, as well as sensitive international space activities such as Galileo and Copernicus. Dear colleagues, dear friends, the months ahead will be demanding. The legislative files on our table, the Space Act, the Competitiveness Fund, and the upcoming regulations on EUSPA are complex. However, I am confident that we will make decisive progress. Cyprus stands ready to play its role as Council Presidency, as ESA Associate Member, and as a committed European partner in shaping a space sector that is competitive, secure, sustainable, and open to innovation. It has been a great year Mr. Commissioner, and we will do our best to make this year a better one. Thank you very much.